There's a new social media platform on the market, but before you ignore it, because I hear those groans, before you ignore it, you should know that Threads hit more than 100 million users in the first 5 days alone. That is not something to ignore. We're talking about it today on Expert Connections. Welcome to Expert Connections. I'm Julie Holton. Our guest today is joining us to talk about Threads, a brand new social media platform brought to us from Meta, the owner of Facebook and Instagram. So many businesses are probably groaning at the thought of having to create more social media content on yet another platform, but with more than 100 million users in the first 5 days alone, this is not something that we can ignore. Join me in welcoming Alexis Neumann to the show for today's Marketing Connections. Alexis is a senior strategist at mConnexions. Hey, Alexis, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to talk a little bit about this new platform. I'm sure people have a lot of questions, so hopefully we can get through some of them today.
A lot of questions, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm guessing probably not a lot of excitement. I mean, maybe some people are excited. I'm sure that some people get excited about having something new to learn and to use, a new tool to use to market their businesses. But I think for others, it's like, okay, one more thing for us. Is that the dinosaur in me? The one more thing for us to learn? So Alexis, the first question I have to ask you is this. Is Threads something that we should be incorporating into our marketing strategies?
Well, if it's the dinosaur in you, then it's the dinosaur in me also. I think whenever you see a new social media platform, there's always a little bit of excitement paired with some skepticism, as to whether or not this is going to be something to dive into. I think as marketers, we maybe get a little bit more excited, and businesses and business owners probably feel a little bit of a headache coming on when they think of a new social media platform their business might need to start looking into. I think the answer to your question is maybe too complicated for a straight yes or no, but certainly the answer to, is this something to pay attention to, is definitely yes. I don't think that any of us can ignore a social media platform that has grown as quickly as Threads has. It is the fastest growing social media platform in history, 100 million users, as you said, in 5 days. That's significant. So whether a business feels ready to jump over to it or not, it's definitely something that we have to keep our eye on and see how it unfolds over time.
Okay, let's start there. Why is Threads growing so quickly?
This is such a great question. And it's the thing that I think kind of sets Threads apart from other social media platform launches. When you think about the different features that Threads has, some are great, some are not existent yet, some things that we hope that will happen. But there's one thing that Threads did brilliantly, and that's the way that it launched. Threads is a platform from Meta, so connected to Facebook and Instagram, and particularly connected to Instagram. And the way that they set Threads up, you have to create your Threads account through your existing Instagram account. And when you do that, you are automatically invited to follow every page, every social media page from your Instagram on Threads. You can, what I'll call pre-follow pages that have not yet created their own Threads account, but when they do, you will automatically start following them. So if you have 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 Instagram followers, you can create your Threads profile and get thousands of followers instantly. Everyone who's already followed you on Instagram is now going to be following you on Threads when they create their Threads account. So there's a lot less of that headache and challenge of creating your social media profile from scratch and building it from the ground up. And how do you get followers? And how do you make sure your followers find you from that platform to this one? Threads has kind of done it all for you, and it's really brilliant. And I think that that has been one of the things that has gotten people so interested that they can jump over to this platform and immediately have a following right from the get-go.
What a huge bonus, because as we know, it takes a lot of hard work to organically grow a following from zero. So for the first time ever, just to emphasize what you said, the first time ever, we have the creation of a social media platform that will essentially import your followers from the other platform, or at least make it, because that's not technically true, but it at least makes it with one click very easy for people to automatically follow on Threads the exact same people and profiles that they are following on Instagram. So if I'm understanding correctly, then Alexis, you have to first have an Instagram account in order to create a Threads account. If you already have an Instagram account, there's like a one-click essentially sign up to then create a Threads account. So talk us through Threads. What is this social media, like what are some of the specs of this social media platform? We know Instagram is really photo and video driven. Facebook is kind of a mix of photos, videos, content posts, you name it. What is Threads like?
So there's a reason that people compare it to Twitter, or as we may now need to start calling it, X, formerly known as Twitter.
A whole nother episode.
That's a whole other Expert Connections. But there's a reason that people compare it to Twitter, and that's because Threads is at its core a micro blogging site. So just like Twitter, you post short snippets of content. It's for sharing text updates, kind of joining, as Meta says, joining the public conversation, can be up to 500 characters long. And you can include, just like most social media platforms, links, photos, and videos, videos up to 5 minutes in length on Threads. So there's a slightly different, on Facebook, obviously you can do lives and longer videos. Threads is a little bit shorter, and it's not as photo and graphic driven as Instagram is. So it is sort of this, Twitter-esque. It's a different type of Twitter. I've seen some of the commentary from Meta talking about how Threads is different from Twitter. Is, as they've said, it's a slightly less angry place to have conversations and a little bit more of an open platform. We've seen a lot of things coming from Twitter that are, restricting how many tweets that you can see in a day, things like that. Threads is much more open. And that's sort of how they've designed it to be a little bit of a competitor to Twitter.
And when we have a seat on the sidelines, this friendly, I don't know if it's very friendly, I was gonna say this friendly competition, but it's also just competition, right? Because now Elon Musk is saying that Twitter might sue Meta, which would not be friendly at all, of course. And so we have this like front row seat to the drama that's unfolding, even between the two CEOs, between Mark Zuckerberg of Meta, which of course owns Facebook and Instagram, and now Threads, and then Elon Musk, who is the owner of Twitter. This controversy is not new for Elon Musk or for Twitter either. A few months ago, back in April, we actually had a front row seat at the Startup Grind Global Conference. That was the week that Substack released its version of Twitter, if you will, within the platform, to allow writers to be able to correspond with the authors. And Elon Musk, of course, did not like that scenario. Here's a quick clip from what the co-founder of Substack had to say about the controversy then.
Could you elucidate the recent Twitter debacle with Matt Taibbi? I saw there was an update. There's a truce that happened, maybe it was released today, but I'm so curious, how you guys perceive things like that, where journalists are talking about important issues and then it gets blocked, Substack specifically gets targeted, what that means and how you guys are perceiving this for future, potential, truth revealing today.
Yeah, I'm not sure how closely people have been following this, but we announced our Notes product, released to everyone today. It's a place where people can share short form content and great writing with each other and be in conversation with each other. Twitter didn't like that. They felt like it was a direct threat to them for some reason. I think these two platforms can happily coexist. Writers should be on both. But Twitter's response was nuclear. They throttled all Substack links. They removed any mention of Substack from search. If you tweeted with the word Substack, you were suppressed. It's lifted now. I don't know how long that's going to last. I don't know what the new reality might look like. And our position is, it sucks. In business competition, we can understand, although I think it's still difficult to justify, I can understand why you might attack a company, and we're willing to take those hits, that's fine. But what is worse is when it costs writers. When you attack writers, especially if you're a platform that is supposed to stand for free speech, I find that particularly hard to take. And for Matt Taibbi and every other writer who has been affected by this, we just want this to be resolved as quickly as possible and in writers' favor, and we hope it doesn't continue. We hope that's the end of it, but I don't know.
And of course, Alexis, you mentioned Twitter also moving to the brand X, perhaps, not sure. Fun fact
Maybe.
that apparently Meta owns X.com. Or owns the brand of X. So we will be diving into that in a separate Expert Connections episode. We'll link to that below. But let's get back to Threads for the moment and away from some of the controversy, because really the key question here for business owners, for marketers, and for business leaders is, what in the world do we do with Threads? And, and what are some of these starting points of even, what are some of the things that we need to consider when deciding if Threads should be used as a marketing tool? And if so, how to start moving forward? Alexis, what's to love about Threads?
Okay, so some of the things that we love, we already talked about the big thing, which is that if you have an Instagram account for your business, you can start your Threads profile with a pretty good chunk of followers. Any of your followers that are already on Threads will come over and likely will have followed your page. So that's one of the things right off the bat that we love, that there's a little bit less of the groundwork building of your profile to get started. Something else that we like is that it's new. It is really fun to get in on the ground floor of a platform and kind of see what are some of the features, how does this work, what kind of attention can you get from a new platform, and potentially new people who may find your platform, may find your page from Threads. Maybe they don't follow you on Instagram, but they could find you here. Something else that's kind of interesting, and I don't know if this is a love-hate or not, but there's no advertising on Threads right now. So if you're looking to grow your business organically, Threads is a really great place because you're not competing with other businesses who could be throwing hundreds, if not thousands of dollars at advertising the way they can on Facebook or Instagram or even on LinkedIn or Twitter. So that's a really great opportunity for businesses who either don't have the budget or aren't interested in digital advertising. It's a potential downside for businesses who are interested in getting that edge over their competition to be able to use those ads, because right now organic is the only way to grow on Threads.
You mentioned a love-hate with Threads. I'm curious to know, are there any downsides to Threads?
So from a marketing perspective, for me, the biggest downside is that there's really no way to measure your success on Threads right now. There are little to no analytics. There's no way to measure your performance or your activity unless you're kind of doing it on your own, you're kind of doing it manually. So that to me is the biggest downside at the moment. Because it can be really hard to know, am I being successful on this platform when you don't have anything to measure yourself against? The other potential downside is that although it's really exciting and it's really new and it's growing faster than any other platform in history, there's some uncertainty as to whether or not this is a flash in the pan or if this is going to be around for the long haul. We've seen platforms like Instagram, that has a staying power. We've also seen platforms like Google Plus that did not have a staying power. So, the potential downside is investing a lot of time and energy into a platform that may then go away or be merged in a way that you then don't want to use it or is not conducive to your business. So those are the two biggest downsides that I see of Threads right now.
Another potential downside, not to go back into comparing to Twitter, but one of the features that Twitter users really fought for years was for the ability to edit tweets. And as of right now, there is no ability to edit your thread. So another thing to consider that before you post that thread, make sure there aren't any typos, or you will have to delete the whole thing because you cannot edit your Threads posts as of right now. Okay, Alexis, so to summarize in 3 short points, what are your recommendations for businesses when it comes to Threads?
First recommendation, if you have an Instagram account for your business, go right now while you're watching this Expert Connections video, go on your Instagram account, claim your Threads page, at least start there. So if you already have that Instagram account, that's where to begin. Then once you've done that, start following other accounts, follow the pages that you already follow on Instagram and look for some new ones, look for some new accounts to follow and start trying to make some connections while Threads is, I don't want to say a smaller platform because it certainly isn't a small platform, but while it's still a little bit new and people are checking out the features and the opportunities, start following some new pages. And then go all in, start using it, start posting, start threading. I'm not sure what we're going to call, what the slang is going to end up being on Threads, but start posting, start using it. The best way to learn about the platform and to figure out if it's going to be a good fit for your business is to use it. So if you're going to commit to it, give yourself a set amount of time. And, if you need support, reach out to, to a marketing expert, a marketing agency to help you learn a little bit about Threads and figure out how to fit this into your marketing strategy, because it can be a little bit overwhelming. But so those would be the places that I would suggest to start for businesses that are already on Instagram. If you're not on Instagram, if you don't already have an Instagram account, you may want to take the wait and see approach and see what's the longevity of this platform going to look like. Maybe create an account and spend a little bit of time kind of testing it out and seeing. You'll be at a slight disadvantage compared to businesses and organizations that already have an Instagram account, but it's never too late to start. It's never too late to create that page. So even though there's a little bit of an uphill battle for you, if you don't have an existing Instagram following, there's no reason not to check out Threads. If for no other reason than it's new and it's interesting and it's exciting. And it seems like it's going to be part of the social media conversation for a little while longer.
And it certainly never hurts to just get in and try things out. That seems to be a theme on this show, to just roll your sleeves up and try it. See if you like it. You never know. And at least see what other people are doing. Alexis, excellent advice. Thank you so much for being on the show. Always appreciate having you here. I know you also created a blog on Threads and will be keeping your following updated. So we'll link to that below. Alexis Neumann of mConnexions, thanks so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me. Always great to be here.
You can click over to see more of our Marketing Connections segments with Alexis and other experts. That will be at the end of this video. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode of Expert Connections. We'll see you next time.